Most people skip it. The very first chapter of the New Testament. It's just a genealogy, right? Just a list of names? But if you slow down and look closer, what you find is a series of hidden threads, tied together by centuries of prophecy, by broken people, by bold choices, all woven into the arrival of Jesus Christ. This is Matthew chapter 1, the real roots of Jesus. Let's begin. Abraham, the father of a nation, the beginning of the promise. Matthew begins. The book of the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham is where it all starts. A man from Ur, a pagan city. He wasn't perfect. He wasn't Jewish yet. That didn't exist yet. But God called him. Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. And Abraham went. That's why he's called the father of faith. He believed, before there was a law, before there was a temple, before there was even a nation. And God made a covenant. I will make you into a great nation, and through you all nations on earth will be blessed. That blessing. It was Jesus, born through Abraham's line, blessing not just Israel, but the whole world. Tamar, redemption through desperation. Tamar's story is rarely preached, but God made sure she was remembered. She married Judah's son, Er. But Er was wicked, and God took his life. By law, his brother was supposed to give her a child, to carry on the family name. But Onan refused, and God took him too. Judah promised his youngest son when he grew older, but he broke that promise. Tamar, abandoned and desperate, disguised herself, dressed as a prostitute, and confronted Judah himself. Later, when accused of immorality, she revealed the truth. Judah was the father, and Judah repented. She is more righteous than I. Tamar gives birth to twins, and one of them, Perez, becomes an ancestor of the Messiah. Even in scandal, God was writing a story of justice, persistence, and grace. Rahab, faith from the edges. Next comes Rahab, a woman who lived on the walls of Jericho, a prostitute, a Canaanite, an enemy of Israel by birth. But something stirred in her when she heard the stories. The God of Israel was powerful, alive, real. When spies entered the city, she hid them. Why? We've heard what your God did to Egypt. Your God is God in heaven above and on the earth below. She made a bold deal. She hung a red cord outside her window, a sign of faith, a symbol of salvation. When Jericho fell, Rahab and her family were spared. And later, she married an Israelite named Salmon. They had a son named Boaz. Yes, that Boaz. The man who would one day marry Ruth. Ruth, loyalty that changed history. Ruth wasn't born into the promise. She was a Moabite, a descendant of Lot, and from a nation that worshipped false gods. But when her husband died, she clung to her mother-in-law, Naomi. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. That choice, a quiet vow in the midst of grief, altered the course of history. She followed Naomi to Bethlehem, worked the fields to provide food, and caught the eye of a righteous man, Boaz. Their love story gave birth to Obed. Obed fathered Jesse. Jesse fathered David. And through Ruth, the foreigner, the widow, came the royal line of the Messiah. Bathsheba, pain, politics, and providence. Her name isn't even mentioned in Matthew 1. She's just the wife of Uriah. Bathsheba. David saw her bathing from the rooftop. He sent for her, slept with her, and when she became pregnant, he had her husband murdered. The prophet Nathan rebuked David. You are the man. Their first child died. But Bathsheba's story didn't end in loss. She bore Solomon, the next king. And later, when the throne was contested, Bathsheba used her voice. She spoke to David. She acted with courage. And Solomon was crowned. From tragedy came a new beginning. Solomon, wisdom lost to compromise. Solomon began well. When God asked what he wanted most, he asked for wisdom. And God gave him more than that. Riches, peace, power. He built the temple. He wrote Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and the Song of Songs. But he loved many foreign women. And slowly his heart turned. He built high places for their gods. His kingdom, spiritually, began to crack. By the end of his life, the man who built the house of God had also built altars to idols. Rehoboam, divided by arrogance. Solomon's son, Rehoboam, inherited the throne. When the people asked him to ease their burden, he said, My father scourged you with whips. I'll scourge you with scorpions. He listened to his young advisors. He ignored the elders. And he lost the kingdom. 10 tribes rebelled and followed Jeroboam. Only Judah and Benjamin remained. Rehoboam became the king who split God's people, because he refused to listen. Manasseh, the king who filled the streets with blood. Manasseh ruled for 55 years, and during that time, he undid everything good his father Hezekiah had done. He built altars to Baal, set up idols in the temple, sacrificed his own children in fire, and filled Jerusalem with the blood of the innocent. He's remembered as the most evil king in Judah's history. Ironically, near the end of his life, he repented, but it wasn't enough to undo the damage. Josiah, the young king who brought the word back. Josiah became king at age 8. At 16, he began to seek the Lord. At 20, he began reforming the nation. And then, something remarkable. The book of the law was found in the temple. When Josiah heard it read aloud, he tore his robes. He wept. He humbled himself. He destroyed idols, smashed pagan altars, and restored the Passover. His reform was passionate and sincere, a brief window of light before the final fall. Jeconiah cursed, but not the end. Jeconiah, also called Jehoiakim, ruled in Judah's final days. He was 18 when he took the throne, and after just 3 months, Babylon came. Jerusalem fell. The exile began, and God spoke through Jeremiah. Record this man as childless. No descendant of his will ever sit on David's throne. So how can Jesus be king? Because Joseph, Jesus' adoptive father, came from Jeconiah's line. But Jesus was born of Mary, by the Holy Spirit. The legal line continues, but the curse is bypassed. God keeps his promise without breaking his word. Jesus, the end and beginning. All of these stories, the faithful, the broken, the outsiders, the insiders, they all lead to one name, Jesus. He fulfills the promise to Abraham. He inherits the throne of David. He redeems the failures of Solomon. He heals the pain of Bathsheba. He completes the faith of Ruth. He ends the exile of Jeconiah. And he invites you into his story. Matthew chapter 1 isn't just a list of names. It's a reminder that God keeps his word, that no story is beyond redemption, and that every broken piece can be used to build a kingdom. Like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to know. Your story matters to God. Until next time, stay curious, stay rooted, and stay blessed.